Mr. Chair, we're live.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome. I'd like to at this time call this session of the Board of Revision to order and begin by acknowledging that we are on Treaty 1 territory, the home and traditional lands of the Ojibwe, Cree, and Dakota peoples, and the national homeland of the Red River Métis. Our drinking water comes from Shoal Lake 41st Nation and Treaty 3 territory. I'm chairing this meeting. My name is Harvey Diamond, and with me this morning are Gail Anderson and Narendra Pal Dangel. The City of Winnipeg Assessment Department is being represented by Jennifer Nichols, who's also joining by Zoom, and our Administrative Secretary is Crystal Harland. To those attending by Zoom, please note that you are placed in the waiting room until your property is called upon. When it's your turn, you will be admitted to the meeting. Kindly follow along the City of Winnipeg's Board of Revision YouTube channel for the hearing process. Once the host admits you into the hearing, please close or mute your YouTube player. You will be then permitted to speak with respect to your property. And once your hearing is concluded, you can leave the meeting. We'll be hearing applications for revision of the assessment rules in accordance with the Municipal Assessment Act. The matters for which revision have been requested are described in each application, and we'll be limiting discussion to those matters. The statements made at this hearing must be sworn testimony, and anyone speaking to a matter must first be sworn in. Be advised that comparative assessments of properties are not considered as evidence of market value by the Board of Revision. The Board of Revision is appointed annually by Council and is independent of it and the City Administration. We make our decisions based on the evidence provided at this hearing and will issue a written order to each party that will be mailed to all parties as soon as possible. Please note that the Board's decision with respect to an application may be appealed to the Manitoba Municipal Board if the matter pertains to assessed value or classification, or to the Court of King's Bench if the matter pertains to an application for exemption from taxation. And should a party wish to appeal, information on do so will be included with our order. With respect to the hearing process, I will confirm the points of appeal with your property to be addressed to each applicant following their swearing in. We will then have the assessor's testimony followed by questions that the applicant may have, and then the applicant's testimony followed by questions. And if anybody wants to summarize, I'll give them an opportunity to do so after. Once all the evidence upon an application has been brought forward, the applicant may leave. The process will repeat for each item on the docket today, and the session will close after all applications have been heard. And the Board will deliberate in private and make its decisions, and you receive our decision by written mail as soon as possible. Please note that all information and all public hearings are live streamed, recorded, and will be part of our public record. And today we'll be hearing items 1, 2, 4, 6, 8, and 8 and 9 and 10. That's on our docket. And Ms. Harland, you can please affirm the assessor's testimony and the first applicant if you can.
Ms. Assessor, would you please state your full name?
Jennifer Nichols.
Thank you. Do you affirm that the evidence you are about to give at this hearing is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. Mr. Patel, would you please state your full name?
Sanjay Kumar Patel.
Thank you. Do you affirm that the evidence you are about to give at this hearing is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Thank you.
Okay, so the matter that we're first hearing on this docket is number 13, Karshchuk Bay. And welcome, Mr. Patel and Ms. Nichols. Ms. Nichols will be going first, as she's the assessor. And you'll give your evidence after, but we'll proceed at this point. So, Ms. Nichols, when you're ready, you can proceed.
Okay, thank you. The property that we're looking at right now is roll number 0309301216 3 Karshchuk Bay. This property is located in the neighborhood of Waverly, West Beak. So it is a new neighborhood, still lots of construction going on there. The property is a 2-story, built in 2023. Living area, 2,508 square feet. A full basement, which is not finished. 2 full bathrooms, 1 half bathroom with 1 shower, air conditioning, and a multiple attached garage. The lot size for the subject property is 5,299 square feet, And the land influences on this property are external corner and walkway. So the current 2025 assessment value is $705,000. So the 4 comparables that I have brought today are all in adjacent neighborhoods to the subject property. The subject property, as I mentioned, is in a very new neighborhood, not much in the way of reselling of properties in that area right now. So I went to very similar but adjacent neighborhoods to find comparable sales. So the first comparable is 35 Bramblewood Court, located in Bridgewater Trails. If you're wondering where it is in relation to the subject property, just look at the second page. You'll see the subject on the right there and comparable number 1 towards the left. So 35 Bramblewood Court. Also a 2-story, built in 2017, so a few years older than the subject. Living area of 2,460 square feet, so it is smaller than the subject property. Also has a full basement, which is not finished. Very similar in terms of bathrooms, air conditioning, multiple attached garage. The lot is slightly smaller than the subject lot, 4,989 square feet, has the same walkway land influence, and 35 Bramblewood Court, sold in May 2022 with a time adjusted sale price of $736,300. Comparable number 2, 31 Edge Park Crescent, again in Bridgewater Trails, a 2-story property built in 2020. This property is smaller than the subject property, 2,365 square feet, a full basement, which is not finished. Again, very similar in terms of bathrooms. This property did not have air conditioning listed at the time that it was sold. And it also has the attached multiple car garage. The lot size for comparable number 2 is 4,890 square feet. It also has the walkway influence. And this property sold in March of 2023, so right before the reference date. The time adjusted sale price was $684,700. So this property, of course, the sale price is lower than the subject assessed value, but also keep in mind that this property is a few years older, but also is smaller than the subject property. Comparable number 3, 81 Cherrywood Road, again in Bridgewater Trails, 2-story, built in 2019, living area 2,359 square feet, so again smaller than the subject property. This property has a full basement, which is finished, 2 full bathrooms, 2 half bathrooms, and 2 showers, air conditioning, and a multiple attached garage. The lot size for comparable number 3 is most similar to the subject at 5,135 square feet. It has the 2 same land influences as the subject, external corner and walkway. And in November 2022, this property had a time adjusted sale price of $703,700. And finally, comparable number 4, 72 Maple Creek Road. This property is in Bridgewater Forest, so another adjacent neighborhood to the subject neighborhood. 2-story home built in 2011. So this home is older than all the other comparables and older than the subject. Total living area of 2,437 square feet, full basement, which is not finished. 2 full bathrooms, 1 half bathroom, 1 shower, air conditioning, and the multiple attached garage. Lot size 4,591 square feet. It also has the walkway land influence, sold in December 2022, and the time adjusted sale price was $666,500. So when I'm looking at the comparables that I was able to find, I did find comparables that had the same walkway influence, so would have all of the same, that would bring all of the same benefits that the subject would have being close to the walkway. All are similar, of course, in terms of the attached garage. Most don't have a finished basement except for comparable number 3. All of the comparable properties are older than the subject, and all are smaller than the subject. So when I'm looking at the range in sale prices from $666,500 up to $736,300, I do think that the $705,000 assessed value for the subject is reasonable and within range of the comparables that I was able to find. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Patel, right now you have an opportunity of asking questions of the assessor if you have any. I don't want you to give your evidence at this point. You have an opportunity of doing that in a few minutes. But if you have any questions, you can ask them now.
The comparable whatever city present to us is about the nearer neighborhood, that is Bridgewater Forest. Bridgewater Forest is developed about.
You can ask questions right now. If you know your argument, you can make later. If you have a question, assessor, you can ask it though.
Yeah, no, I don't have any questions what they present it right now. But we cannot compare. That's the one.
Okay, well, that's your argument, and I'll let you do that. Okay, but not now.
No, I'm okay with that one. Yeah, that's good.
Okay, Mr. Patel, thank you. Ms. Anderson, do you have any questions?
Yes, I do. Thank you for your presentation. My question is whether the property, subject property has been inspected?
Pardon me, I have not, excuse me, I have not inspected the subject property. And I'll just look back on notes here when the property, I mean, this is a brand new home. So I believe that this property was, yeah, a colleague had stopped by, but nobody was home at the time when the new house was going to be added onto the roll. And so it looks like information was gathered from the plans submitted by the builder, as well as later somebody in our department did speak over the phone with Mr. Patel. But that was earlier this year. So no, at the time that the property was added onto the roll, there was no inspection.
Okay. My other question is in regard to the neighborhood area. The map certainly is helpful in that it demonstrates the overall area where the comparables and the subject property is. But the neighborhood area for the purposes of assessment is 681 Waverly. So I'm just wondering, were there no other comparables?
None
in that neighborhood that you could draw from?
No, unfortunately, because this neighborhood is so new, there is quite a lot of construction happening there right now, and there were no sales of other two-story properties in the subject neighborhood.
Okay. My other question is in regards to finishes. Are there any notes in regards to the comparables as to the finishes within the homes? How relative they are to this new property?
Yeah, all of these homes were, all of the comparables that I brought were fairly, I mean, I don't want to say basic because they're all new homes, so they're all nice, but they had, you know, laminate counters in the bathrooms, for example. I believe they all had some sort of stone counter in the kitchen, and, you know, some variation on carpeting or laminate flooring throughout.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for your presentation. Those are all my questions.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Anderson. Mr. Danschel, do you have any questions?
Yes, I just got two questions. In comparison, number one, there was looked at the fireplace. It doesn't have no fireplace, and number two has no air conditioning. I just want a clarification that that's what it is.
Right. Yeah. So at the time of sale, 35 Bramblewood Court had no fireplace, and 31 Edge Park had no air conditioning.
All right, those are the two questions I had. Thank you.
Okay, and I guess my only question is, I see it's an external corner, and would that affect the value?
In terms of the assessed value?
Yes.
You mean?
Well, or the retail value, I guess. I mean, I know the assessed value, that's what's being disputed right now. So I guess, would, in your mind, would that affect the sales value on the market?
In my opinion, I don't think that would have much of an impact on the value of the property. No.
Okay. Well, I'm looking at your number 4, and it's also external corner, and I see that per square foot it's sold for more than this property's been assessed at. Do you know if the property is finished? Is it landscaped yet, or are there any things that are yet to do?
At the subject property?
Yes.
I'm not too sure. on the details of what all has been done. I spoke with Mr. Patel over the phone, and I believe he mentioned he was holding off on some landscaping right now, but that's probably better answered by Mr. Patel.
And he'll get that opportunity. Thanks very much.
Yeah.
So I have no further questions.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so Ms. Patel, you can now go forward with your brief if you'd like.
Yes, what I see that the evidence city present is is compared with the Bridgewater Forest that is developed maybe 15 years ago and is fully developed, and the neighborhoods getting more benefits than the new constructed or new developed area as mine. So we cannot compare with the Bridgewater Forest. Our like my back lane is not done, our trees plantation is not done, constructions going on, the road is filthy and dirty all over the place. Other thing is I'm just comparing also on the same street. I have a evidence that they are similar square footage. As my house is 3 Karchak Bay, I'm comparing with 7 Karchak Bay and 11 Karchak Bay. Both property is sold and in 2023, and those are like 250,000 more market value, and still they have comparatively very less assessment value than me. And also I see on other street, same area like Asmin Ali they call, and I get 2 of them listed on my Excel sheets, the one I provided, that is 46 Asmin Ali, and it has only 615,000 let me see, living area 2010, and market value 769,000, and SS value is 575,000 only. So I compare with the similar area, new developed area, and not much facility is given by the city yet, and still the assessment value comparatively is higher.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anything else you have like to add?
Not at this moment. I have all the sold property in those one things because I could not able to send it by the deadline, because Jennifer talked to me on the phone, and I was waiting that before even board meetings happens, it gonna be something conclusion comes out. But and that's all I have.
Okay, Ms. Nichols, any questions of Mr. Patel?
Yes, thank you. I was wondering about the sale you mentioned on Karshchuk. You had mentioned it sold in 2023. Was that before or after the reference date?
The one I send you the on Excel sheets is like 11 Karchak Bay. It sold in 2023 980,000, and the square feet I also mentioned on the Excel sheets was 2683. Living area, land area is 5,161.
Sorry, did you say it sold for
980,000, almost
80?
close to $1 million. The listed was $1 million.
Okay, and
the assessment value is only 734,000. So 734,000 versus 705. That means.
Okay, thank you. And did the sale occur before April 1st, 2023 or after?
April,
do you know when in 2023?
I think the date I cannot provide, because the evidence I got it from the real estate, that because of the confidentiality I cannot get that like really the date and everything.
Oh, okay.
But it can be accessible. Like if you need me to present it, I have to get it, hire somebody and get it for you.
No, that's okay. I was just wondering if it was because our reference date is April 1st, 2023. So we don't look at any sales that happened after that date. So I was just wondering if that sale happened before or after April 1st, 2023.
Me,
But
I
that's
got
okay. Yeah.
I got the like communications through the email from the real estate.
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah, so I can forward, or it is like a hard evidence, whatever I have it. Uh, uh, the sold properties. Also, even there is a Siddiqui Street close to, and it's also a couple houses sold in 2023. But exact date, I cannot. I don't have it. Some of them I have it, but I like to present it 11 Karchak Bay, just couple house down my street.
Okay, I understand. Thank you. That's all my questions.
Thank you. Mr. D'Angelo, any questions?
No, I don't have any question at this point. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Anderson, any questions?
Just in regards to the comparable that you provided, that 46 Yasmin Crescent, the sale price, correct? The advertised price on the MLS listing is $769,000.
Yes, I send on the screenshot or the picture on when I send the email or as evidence.
Okay.
That's one I got from the website.
Okay, so that advertisement, what's the date of that advertisement? That listing, do you have it?
Should have it, just a second.
Like, is it from this year or is it from previous year?
No, this year is
Okay.
yeah, yeah, this year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for your presentation and all the information you provided. That's all my questions.
Hey, Mr. Patel, when did you move into your house?
November 15, 2023.
Okay, so that was after the date that we can look at valuation. So what you pay for it is really immaterial then. I would have asked you that question otherwise. I'm looking at your comparables though, and they're much smaller houses and they sold for a lot. So like your house I see has got a living area of 2,508 square feet, and your comparables are much smaller and still had large sale prices.
Can you repeat, please?
Sure, hang on a second. Let me get to it, and oh, hang on. Oh boy, what did I do here? Okay, just a second. I got to get back here. Excuse me. Oh boy, I lost my. Okay, sorry about that. You know what? Hang on. I gotta get my agenda back. I'm sorry. I somehow clicked it off. Okay. Here we go. Okay. So what I'm saying, Mr. Mattel, is that, for example, the property that you're showing us on 46 Yasmin, it seems that it was advertised at 769,000, and it's advertised as only having 1,938 square feet, whereas you have over 2,500 square feet. So it's not really comparable, is it?
Is not comparable, but if you see the assessed value is 575 and jumping to comparatively to 2,500 square feet, mine is 705. So what I see that I don't have the much data because it's a new development. I just look at one lower side and a couple houses in upper side of the market value.
I understand that, but if it's assessed at so much lower than it actually sold for, or should be selling for, wouldn't that indicate that your assessment might be low?
My assessment should be like in this around it is like I'm not expecting like a 575 or something, but should be it's around instead of 705 it should be 664 660 670 around there. I compare the living area, land area, the market values and assessed values.
Yeah. Okay, I'm looking at all your comparables, and they all appear to be much smaller homes than yours. Anyway, okay, thank you. I have no further questions. So we will be making our decision, Mr. Vidal, and you'll receive it very soon by registered mail. And
Sure.
make our decision after the hearing today. Thank you very much for your attending and for your presence.
Thank you very much, you all of you.
Okay, good morning.
Good.
Okay, well, next proceed with item number 2 then, which is the property at 75 Weatherstone Drive, or Waterstone Drive, I'm sorry, Waterstone Drive, and Ms. Nichols, when you're ready, you can proceed.
Thank you very
Mr.
much.
Chair, there is no applicant present for this
Oh.
property.
Okay, then you will stand it down, and that's the case, and we'll return to it before we close our meeting today. So then we can go, is there an attendance at 47 Bellflower Road?
There is.
Okay, well, next proceed with then 47 Bellflower Road. And we can swear in the applicant there if he's present, and then Ms. Nichols can proceed.
Stand up. Sure. Would you please state your full name?
Natalia Samsonov.
Thank you. Do you affirm that the evidence you are about to give at this hearing is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you. You may be seated.
Okay, Ms. Nichols, when you're ready, you can proceed with your brief.
Okay, thank you. So the subject property is roll number 030917077700. Address is 47 Bellflower Road. This property is located in Bridgewater Lakes. It is a 2-story home built in 2012. Living area is 1,606 square feet. It has a full basement, which is finished, 3 full bathrooms, 1 half bathroom, 1 shower, air conditioning, and a multiple detached garage. The lot area of the subject property is 4,332 square feet, and it has a land influence of back lane. The current 2025 assessment value is $527,000. So the comparables that I have brought today are all in Bridgewater Lakes. The first is on the same street as the subject, 227 Bellflower Road. Also a 2-story, built in 2013. Living area of 1,715 square feet. Full basement, which is not finished. So this property is slightly larger than the subject, but does not have a finished basement where the subject does. 1 full bathroom, 2 half bathrooms, 2 showers, air conditioning. Comparable number 1 has no detached garage or no garage at all. Assessed lot value 4,251 square feet. Also has a few land influences, back lane, and hydro transformer box. The comparable number 1 sold in July of 2021, and the time adjusted sale price is $508,800. Comparable number 2, also on the same road as the subject property, 99 Bellflower Road. A 2-story home built in 2012, living area of 1,480 square feet. So this property is smaller than the subject property. And again, it has a full basement, but is not finished, whereas the subject has a finished basement. 2 full bathrooms, 1 half bathroom, no showers, air conditioning, and a multiple detached garage, same as the subject property. The lot area for comparable number 2 is 4,251 square feet. It also has the back lane influence, and comparable number 2 sold in August of 2021 with a time adjusted sale price of $491,600. Comparable number 3 is 78 Sablewood Road. It is also 2-story, built in 2013, 1,620 square feet of living area, so very close to the subject property. Full basement, which is finished, same as the subject. 1 full bathroom, 3 half bathrooms, and 2 showers, air conditioning, and a multiple detached garage, same as the subject property. The lot area for this comparable is 4,251 square feet. And again, it has the back lane influence, same as the subject, as well as a hydro transformer box. The comparable number 3 sold in May of 2022 with a time adjusted sale price of $531,200. And finally, comparable number 4, also in Sablewood, number 22 Sablewood Road, 2-story, built in 2014, 1,604 square feet of living area, so very similar to the subject property, has a full basement, which is finished, same as the subject property, 2 full bathrooms, 2 half bathrooms, 1 shower, air conditioning, and a multiple detached garage, same as the subject property. Lot area of 4,675 square feet. Again, it has that back lane influence. This property sold in June of 2022 with a time adjusted sale price of $524,400. So I'm, when looking at the 4 comparables that I was able to find today, I am noticing that the 2 properties that don't have a finished basement do have a slightly lower overall sale price than the subject property, whereas comparables 3 and 4, which are very similar in terms of square footage and finished basement, and both have the detached garage, have a sale price very close to the assessed value of the subject property. And also, of course, keeping in mind that comparable number 1 does not have a garage at all. So that is, going to make a difference in the sale price as well. So looking at the range in value here, as low as $491,600 up to $531,200. I do think the 2025 assessed value of $527,000 is fair and in line with the comparables. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Applicant, you can now ask any questions you might have of the assessor and not give your argument, which you'll have an opportunity of doing very soon. But if you have any questions, you can ask them now.
Yes, I do have 2 questions. My first question is, I'm quite confused with the square footage of that is mentioned on the assessment, because the house plan that I have has the square footage of 1545. The first page of the plan is attached to the evidence. Also, in between of me submitting the evidence and now
excuse me, you'll have an opportunity of making your argument later. Right now, if you have any questions of the assessor,
I have questions based on what my property has their square footage of 1604.
Okay, so I did see in your evidence that the plans that the builder had provided to you showed a different square footage than you see on the city assessment. And I did notice in the notes that when your home was added onto the tax roll, there was a note that the builder had not included the area of the stairs, I believe, going up to the 2nd floor. I'll just go back and double check. But that was all that was missing. But there was some square footage that was missing from the plans that the builder had submitted.
Yeah, I'm not planning on making my arguments at this point, but when we were buying the house in 2019, the market listing that we have is also on has a square footage of 1545. I was able to retrieve it from in the last 2 days. it's submitted to the secretary as a printed evidence and I can forward it your way.
That was
So,
the listing that the builder had put
no,
on
that
MLS?
was a listing that the previous owner, like, there was an owner of the house and we, like, the house was built in 2013 and we bought it in 2019. So then we were buying the house. The listing was for 1545 and my mortgage is for 1545. Yeah, so therefore I don't have any like evidence of like that my property is 1606 whatsoever. But I guess that we're jumping into arguments. Yeah, I do have a question about your comparables. So I was able to find 22 comparables on the street of Sablewood and the Bellflower Road, which is like 3 block, like both of the streets are three block streets. So among those 22, the two of your comparables are the highest value per square footage.
You're asking
So-
questions, excuse me, right now you're asking questions. Please phrase those questions and not, just the statements. If you can ask questions, you'll have an opportunity very soon to give your evidence. But
So
right now,
what was the rationale of including those four? Because there are buildings in the vicinity closer to my house, which were included in the document, like in your sales, like PDF file. Why you didn't include those? So what was the rationale?
So if you just turn to the second page of the evidence that I submitted, you'll see where each of the sales are that I provided in relation to your home, to the subject property. So you can see, especially comparables, they're all close, but especially comparables 4, 3, and 2 are very close to your home. In terms of, looking for comparables based solely on getting closer to your home, that's not necessarily, the most important thing when looking for comparables when they're all pretty close to the subject property. So things that I was considering when I was looking for comparables, for example, comparables 3 and 4 are very close in square footage to your home, built very close in terms of year built. They both have finished basements, just like your home does. They have air conditioning, just like your home does. They have multiple detached garages, just like your home does. They have the back lane influence. The lot size is very similar. So these are very good comparables, and they're very close to your home as well. So that was, kind of the big picture of what I'm looking for, not just, how close can I get to your home, but also how comparable is that property to your home.
Yeah, I really appreciate your effort, but as I mentioned, I was able to find 22 of those sold properties in Sablewood and Bellflower. They all in the build
okay, excuse me.
around that.
Excuse me, Mr. Applicant. Ms. Applicant, excuse me. Right now you're asking questions.
Have a
That's an argument, and that's your evidence, and you'll have an opportunity of presenting that to us in a few minutes. But you can't really ask essentially that question because you're saying you found things. We'd like to see them, obviously, and you'll get your opportunity to present them. Okay?
Yes,
But now,
I'm sorry.
I said you right now you're asking questions.
Yeah, I'm done with the question.
Okay.
So I asked the question, yeah, so anyway. So I guess that was a rhetorical question then.
Well,
I'm done with the questions.
the fact that you found you found evidence, we'd like to see it, but not now. You'll give your evidence in a few minutes.
Sure.
Okay? If you have any other questions, though, you can ask them.
No, I'm good, thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Dancho, do you have any questions to the assessor?
Looking at comparison number 2 there, that property size, it is smaller than the comparisons, the subject property itself. That's number 1. So you can't really compare number 2 with the subject property. Am I reading that correct?
So comparable number 2 is smaller than the subject property and doesn't have a finished basement where the subject property does. It is on the same street as the subject property though, and has the same backlane influence and detached garage as well. But it's not, I would say, you know, if I was going to choose the best comparables out of the 4 that I brought today, I would not select that as one of the best comparables for sure, not one of the most comparable properties.
Okay, so the next question I have is in reference to the hydro transfer box. How does that affect the assessed value?
Not something that would have a huge impact on the assessed value.
Okay.
Just something that we more make note of.
So the subject property itself, it's as far as square footage is concerned, is 1606, but the evidence that the individual has brought forward says there's 1545, so there's a difference of 61 square foot missing.
Yeah.
And you're referring to that in reference to the staircase going to the second level. Am I
Yes.
correct?
Yeah. And it's not uncommon for builders to leave that out of the square footage, but in terms of appraisals and assessments, we always include the area of the stairs.
All right, thank you very much. That's all the questions I had. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Nanjal. Ms. Anderson, do you have any questions?
Yes, I do. Has there been an inspection of the property?
I'm looking back in the notes and I'm not seeing any notes regarding recent inspections of this property. So I don't believe so, no. And I have not inspected the property.
Okay, and in regards to a finished basement, so a couple of the comparables don't have finished basements. So I'm wondering what type of valuation would finishing a basement achieve? Like what should we see in a variance with a finished basement in a property?
In terms of like how much value it would add?
Yes.
Is that what you're wondering?
Yes.
Okay. I mean, I would say I wouldn't want to estimate that for these properties. I think that would depend on how much of the basement was finished. And I don't think I'd want to give like a specific estimate with regards to the comparables that I brought that don't have finished basements. But I think, you know, maybe more just what I'm highlighting is that even without a finished basement, properties that are comparable are still selling for, you know, let's say in that 490 on the low end with that smaller house up to, you know, just about 510. And that's not even considering a finished basement, right? So a property that does have a finished basement, you would imagine that would be that would increase the market value of the property, and that property should sell for more than that.
And in regards to the comparables with respect to finishes within the homes, do you have something on file that reflects whether the finishes are relative to one another?
Yeah, I think I can check back in my notes and see if I made a specific note about it. Just take a look here. Yeah, so the properties that I brought today are what I would describe as fairly standard finishes for a new home these days. So, you know, the stone counters, laminate or vinyl flooring, some carpet as well. Some of the 78 Sablewood has laminate in the bathrooms, for example. So yeah, I would just describe it as the, you know, fairly standard finishings for a new home.
Okay, thank you very much. Those are all my questions. Thanks for your presentation.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I have no questions to ask. So thank you very much for your presentation, and we can direct the applicant to go forward with their evidence at this time.
Thank you very much. So I am the owner of 47 Bellflower Road, and I would like to appeal the value of 527 as of April 1st, 2023. I think that this assessment is significantly higher than fair market value of my property and does not accurately reflect its characteristics, such as smaller site and detached garage compared to other properties in my area. So my home, as was mentioned by Jennifer, thank you very much. Like all the characteristics are right, but as I mentioned, the square footage. So I supplied their plan as one of the evidence. The second part, the second piece of the evidence, is MLS from 2019. Should the suggestion of the staircase be valid, then I would expect that that issue would be addressed in between of my house was sold the first time to the previous owner. Yeah, and then then the resale happened. Yeah, so for some reason, for those 6 years, yeah, that issue wasn't addressed. Therefore, the MLS that I have still has a number of 1545. So yeah, I would love to figure out actually what's the proper square footage of my property. Because I was basing my calculations on the square footage of 1545. So the basement was finished in 2021, and there were no other renovations done to the property since then. The value was reassessed for 2021 after the permit was closed. So I based my calculations on both Bridgewater Lake and trials. So in order to increase their number, the sample size of the evaluated properties. But even if we're going to isolate lakes or specifically, that's not going to impact my evaluations that much. So I gave their while I was choosing the comparables, I was basing it within their years of build and within the square footage that I had. So as I have mentioned, after I have received their comparable sales report, which was sent on Wednesday, since I was not able to supply any other evidence, I just printed them at this point. So I was able to find 22 properties on the Sablewood and Bellflower Road that was sold from 21st until the end of 23rd. 2 of those properties were sold after the April 1st. But even if we're gonna exclude those, so I would like to direct your attention, for instance, for 10 Sablewood, which was sold for 477 grand and has a significantly higher living area than my house. So if we're just gonna calculate the price for square footage, that's gonna make 263. For the sales was done on November 2021. 14 Sablewood sales happened on 2022 on March. The sales price was 460 grand, and that's gonna make 277 per square footage. I can continue if you want, yeah, and I can list all their characteristics of this property, if you will. So do you want me to continue in that regard?
I'll let you continue however you wish to present your evidence. I'm not going to tell you how to do it. You're free to proceed.
I just feel it's a bit inconsiderable in terms of your time, yeah, for me to just list it. But yeah, let's go ahead. So the roll number is 309168870. Street address is 10 Sablewood neighborhood, Bridgewater Lake, 2-story detached single dwelling. Year of build 2013, a living area 1814 square foot, basement yes, finished no, central area no, fireplace no, attached garage no, detached garage yes, in ground pool no, lot is 4,676 square feet and the land influence back lane. The sales was 2021, year 2021, November, and the sales price is 477,500. Roll number 30 91 68 96 00 14 Stablewood, same 2-story Bridgewater Lake, detached single dwelling, year of build 2013, living areas 1657 square feet, basement yes, finished yes, central area yes, fireplace yes, attached garage no, detached garage yes, in ground pool no, assessed lot size is 4,676 square feet, back lane hydro transformer box. The sales happened on 2022 and March, and the sales price was 460 grand. So roll number is 3091697000. It's 138 Sablewood, Bridgewater Lake, 2-story, same characteristics, year of build, 2013, living area 1638, basement type, basement yes, basement finish yes, central area yes, fireplace yes, detached garage. Lot size is 4,251 square feet, back lane, registration date is 2021, and February. Sales price 456 grand. So I have 22 of those, which I gladly can, they also are in Excel file that I referred to as a comparables. The comparables there just include more of their properties, like the address properties. If you will just filter Sablewood and Bellflower, I would save you time, just not reading it from the paper. So their average per square foot for those comparables is $314 dollars per square footage, which actually confirm my claim that my assessed value of my property is supposed to be around 490 grand. I also have their letter from the realtor, which assess with assessment value of my property as April 1st, 2023, which supports my claim. The letter is attached to the evidence and has a number of 480 from 480 to 490 grand per as of April 1st, 2023. So I'm making my case based on inadequate square footage of my property that on city's file, on the comparables that I was able to find within the sales files that was supplied by the city of Winnipeg, which suggests the average price per square footage supposed to be from 312 to 314, which is gonna multiply it on my property side, gonna provide us with the range of numbers which are around 480 thousand. If we're gonna apply 1606 as a square footage, then that's gonna make 10 more grands, so it's gonna be around plus 10 grand in their assessed value. So this is where I kind of making my case. And I would love you to have those comparables, the short list of comparables, which I did after I received the comparable sales report, so I can forward it your way instead of just rereading the paper.
Okay, well, your tables here are helpful, so I think you gave us the information.
Okay. Yeah, I also was able to find like the sales that are close to April 1st, like that are after the April 1st of 2023, but like it's fairly close to that day. So for example, 74 Sablewood, which is like literally 2 houses from my house, was sold on August, I don't know the exact date, August of 2023. So the house was sold for 490 grand. The house is bigger than mine, so the house is 1710 square feet, but it doesn't have, like, to be fair, yeah, it doesn't have the garage, so it's just parking pad. So if we're gonna adjust the price per square footage, and I was able to make some comparables in terms of like how much value gonna add the like detached garage in my area. So it's around 25 grand. So if we're gonna adjust this price towards my square footage, I'm gonna add 25 grand for the garage. We're gonna end it like with the same number. So that's gonna be something around 490 grand per like for that property. So I supplied as an evidence other sales that happened after April 1st, which are in the vicinity, unfortunately, like specifically on the like Bellflower or Sablewood, like there were like not much of the other sales here. So there was one other property, which is 82 Sablewood, which was sold in November of 2023. Yeah, but this house is the house is really quite small. Yeah, so I would not apply that price towards my house because it's gonna be like not fair comparison at all.
Okay, I think you've given us the information that you wanted to. And we have it before us, and you've indicated you think that your valuation should be more like 490,000 based on, and if that's your evidence, I think we're aware of that. If you have anything more to add, I'm not going to cut you off here, but just let you know that that's what we have at this point. Is there anything else you want to add to that?
No, I just would be able, I would love to submit like the file with like comparables, like the same fashion as Jennifer submitted hers. So if I can submit it after the hearing, so you're gonna have like the exact like.
Yeah, unfortunately, we have to rely on the evidence that's presented to us. We can't accept evidence after the hearing because Ms. Nichols wouldn't be here to respond to it. And so the evidence is closed off. And we'll only rely on the evidence that's presented at this point.
Yeah, that's okay, because like all those sales are in my short list anyway. I would like just to comment, since like Ms. Nichols' evidence was submitted to me and on Wednesday, yeah, so it didn't allow like any time on my end to submit any other evidences, because like the deadline for my evidence submission was mentioned as Tuesday evening. So therefore, receiving something on Wednesday not provides me the fair like chance to respond in any way, but like verbally addressing you. Yeah, so which in my case, I don't think makes much difference, because all those sales that I have mentioned are in the Excel file, and I based my calculation on them anyway.
Okay, thank you. I'm gonna then let Ms. Nichols ask any questions she might have at this point.
Thank you. Yes, I do have some questions. Okay, so I guess maybe starting with the there was a couple of sales. I was trying to take notes as you were speaking. A couple of sales. You had mentioned 10 Sablewood sold for 477,500. That was the actual sale price. Do you know what the time adjusted sale price was for that property?
10 Sablewood, it's 487 time adjusted price. So that's gonna make 268 Canadian dollars per square footage.
Okay, thank you. And 14 Sablewood as well. Do you know what the time adjusted sale price was for that property?
The time adjusted price was 20 grand less than the sales price, so it's 439.80. 439 $1,800, and their time adjusted sales price per square footage gonna make 265 Canadian dollars.
Okay. And I noticed that that sale was a private sale, so not listed on MLS. Are you aware of any of the details of that sale? Were the sellers known to each other? The seller and the purchaser known to each other?
I'm sorry, like this is like the sale from like from the file. Yes,
Okay.
from the
Yeah, so
like,
don't.
PDF document that you have. So I
Okay.
was not investigating those sales whatsoever.
Thank
Sorry.
you. And 74 Sablewood and 82 Sablewood were both post-reference sales, so I'm not going to ask any questions regarding those as they're not relevant. So just moving on, I did notice that the sales that were provided by your realtor, and I'm assuming that all of the, like at the end of the evidence that was provided, all of those MLS listings, those are all provided by your realtor?
Yeah, and they're post.
Those are all post-reference.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
specifically like asked for the sales that are post because like the sales that are April 1st, they like your file encompass all of those, so there is no point asking realtor for this data. I was just like going by assumption since we are considering the year 2021 as adequate reference for April 23rd. So in like I believe that the same adequate reference gonna be like August 23rd, yeah, because the time like it's way closer to April 1st of 2023. But if the processes follows, yeah, that like only sales before the date can be considered, I would like, yeah, I would appreciate it. Yeah, so if the process is followed, then it is what it is.
Right. Yeah. So none of those sales would be relevant. And the letter from your realtor, is that opinion of value based on the post-reference sales that she provided?
No, it's opinion based on the sales that were like before the April 20, like
So she,
as of April 1st of the year 2023 year.
so she reviewed sales
Yes.
from before the reference date, but they would not have been time adjusted? Or were they time adjusted?
To be honest, I wouldn't speculate what they did. So I can explain what I asked to do. So I asked two things. I asked if they can provide me with the sales that happened after the April 1st in my area. So that was my first request. And the second, like separate request was if they can assess what my house would sell for if we were selling it in April 1st. So I wouldn't speculate how they came up with the number whatsoever.
Okay, thank you. Okay, and just I guess my final kind of question is just relating to your home itself. I believe you said that you had been looking at the MLS listing from when you purchased the home, is that correct?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And you had been, I guess, looking at the square footage. Do you have that listing in front of you by any chance?
I do have it attached to like the like those papers that I have given you, so that it is there.
Okay, so is this a document that hasn't been submitted electronically?
The MLS wasn't submitted electronically, like my MLS from the time that I purchased the house.
Okay, so anything that you submit to us today would be considered as rebuttal if it's in response to the assessor's evidence exchange? Or if you're adding additional evidence,
about the
then,
square footage of my house.
Okay.
So it's not,
Mr. Chair, if we receive any type of additional documents, the panel would have to discuss whether or not to accept it at this point, correct?
Yeah, we'd have to decide whether it's rebuttal or new evidence. If it's new evidence, it would not be allowed. If it's rebuttal, it would be.
Okay, so is it new evidence, ma'am?
it's a square footage of my house. I'm not sure how that is the new evidence or the old evidence. I supplied like the plan of the builder, which city also is supposed to have on 1545. square footage. And Miss Nicholson asking me if I like that, since I was able to find the old like market listing, like the one went from the time that I was buying the house. So she's asking me about that paper.
Oh.
So I was able to find
Okay,
it.
we're just trying to figure out
At
what.
this point, I would say that this is verbal evidence that always comes out of a hearing. It's not electronic, we don't have it, and we'll give it the weight that the panel, when we sum up, feels it deserves.
I would argue that it's like quite unfair, because if you're basing the set like the price, the assessment price on the square footage, I believe that the square footage is important. Yeah, so and more to that, I submitted my concern in February that my square footage of my house is 1545. I never
Excuse me.
addressed that.
Excuse me, we can only rely on evidence that we have before us and what's been submitted. And I don't care what you did in February. If the evidence isn't before us now, we can't consider it. Now, we do have some evidence. You did provide some evidence, and the assessors indicate that the discrepancy in square footage is the stairway. If you have evidence, if you submitted a surveyor certificate or something else, that might enlighten us a little bit. At this point, we have your verbal evidence and we have that of the assessor, and we'll have to make a determination on the basis of that. Okay?
I'm not gonna suggest that this is okay, but since you have a power and I don't think that I can say that it's not okay. But I bought a house that was like 1545 square footage in 2019. And you definitely can like follow the process and just dismiss my MLS because I didn't submit it on Tuesday. Yeah. Which definitely is in your power.
Okay.
Is it okay if I jump in here?
Absolutely, Ms. Nichols, if you can enlighten us and help us, we'd
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Thank you. I was just going to say with reference to the listing, the MLS listing from when the house was purchased in 2019, although the living area is listed at 1,545 square feet at the top, where things are kind of broken down, sometimes lists finished basement and lot size and all of that kind of thing. Further in the public remarks, it actually states gorgeous 1,604 square foot former A&S show home with an open concept floor plan and hardwood floors, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm guessing that the 1545 came from the builder's previous listing, which was the same 1545. But it seems like the actual square footage was listed in the description of the home itself.
Thank you, Ms. Nichols.
Thank you. Okay, and my only other question, if it's okay to continue now, was just relating to the finishings of the home. Could you describe the finishings of your home?
What do you can you specify your question?
Yeah, so what in the kitchen, for example, do you have laminate countertops? Is it quartz, granite, marble?
It's some sort of stone. It's definitely not laminate. It's some sort of stone.
Okay.
I think I do have a laminate in the washroom. Yes, in the washrooms, it's sort of like laminate thing. Yeah, I do have a carpet upstairs, and I do have a carpet in downstairs, like in the basement. I think that whatever I have in the first floor is either laminate or I don't know. Like my kids destroyed it anyway, so at this point I don't think it's adding any value more to that. It's taken from the value.
Okay, thank you.
I do have a fireplace and the central conditioner.
And in terms of the comparables that you mentioned, the couple that you highlighted, they're definitely on the lower end in terms of sale price. Do you know what the finishings are in those homes? Do they have laminate in the kitchens, or what are the finishings of those homes?
Yeah, I don't know like what are the finishes there, but like that was just the first two of like 22 that I like that like on my like streets and like out of like the 30 that were like installed in the Bridgewater Lake. So like I'm very fair, like here, I was basing my calculations on the average, specifically to eliminate those like discrepancies in terms of their finishes. I based my calculations on the average of the square footage. Both of adjusted price and both of the sales price. So that's my job. Like I'm getting paid for like doing those things here. So I'm quite like accurate in terms of the numbers, and I'm trying to like get the sample size that's going to provide the adequate number.
Right. So not necessarily choosing the most comparable properties then, but more an average of all that you could find.
Like that was the average within their comparables. Yeah, so they are more comparable in terms of their size, plus minus 200 square feet. And like they were comparable in terms of the year of build. So I disregarded all the properties that were built after 2019 and after. Yeah, so specifically, as I mentioned, in order to be able to obtain the sample size that's going to be like not arbitrarily, but like that's going to be supported by some sort of statistical calculations.
Right, I understand. Okay, thank you so much. That was all my questions.
Thank you. Mr. Danshall, do you have any questions of the applicant?
Not at this point. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Ms. Anderson, do you have any questions?
No, I have no questions. Thank you for your presentation and all the information you've provided.
Thank you.
Okay, so just to make it clear, then, are you indicating that if you took all of your sales, time adjusted, that you would have gotten an adjusted or an average square foot price of $314 per square foot? Is that what you're saying? I thought that was your evidence, but I want to make it clear.
Yes. I'm just trying to like be fair in my answer. So 314 is the average of sales price. So the difference.
Time adjusted? Excuse me, is that time adjusted?
Yeah, I'm trying to answer your question. If you're just gonna give me like the chance to do that. So I didn't do the average of the time adjusted, but the time adjusted difference in my area is 0.2%. Yeah, so therefore it's gonna make 315 or something if my calculation is not wrong.
Well, yeah, but you can't use all of them and get a value and then just use your area for.
No, it's not all of them. It's specifically, if you're just gonna direct yourself to my calculation, step 1, estimate the price of property. So
It's all right. It's just some antics outside.
I based that, it was something outside, it was nothing. I based my average on the short list of the properties that are comparable to my house in terms of their size and the year of build with detached garage. So this like there were like 36 properties in the PDF document that city has on the web page that were sold in the Bridgewater Lake that are satisfying the condition of the size, detached garage, and the more or less plus minus year of build. Yeah, as I said, I excluded everything that was built before 2019. So you have that short list in my Excel file. Based on that short list, I calculated the average. The average was 314 sales price per square footage. The difference between between their adjusted price and like the sales price for the same subsample of the sales is 0.29%. So it's going to be $1 more expensive per square footage. And then I supplied like my calculations based on actual and adjusted prices, which are table number 2, which based on the average for the same sample. Am I answering your question?
I guess so.
I'm sorry, like, that's not quite respectful, like with all my respect, yeah? So the average, this is how like the arithmetic and like statistical average is calculated. So if you have enough sales in the area, this is like the most like accurate way of calculating the average sales price. I am appreciating when there is not enough comparables in the area. And really, yeah, so like you need to base like the evidence based on like 2 or 3 sales. This is totally like fine. But since we have enough, like I'm not sure why we need to pick and choose which one like out of that like actual comparables like we like more or less. Yeah, definitely within there is a range of the finishes, there is a range of the conditions, but since this is where like the number come into the play.
Okay, I think you've answered my question. Thank you. And I have no other questions, so we will consider your application. You will get our decision once we make it. And thank you very much for your attendance and your presentation.
Thank you very much, Jennifer, and sorry, I can't see your last name. Thank you very much, for like giving me the time to submit my evidence, and I really appreciate if you're gonna consider that.
And you will hear from us very shortly. Thank you very much. Good morning. I'm going to ask if we can have a 10-minute break at this point.
Yes. Thank you. I can do that for you. Okay.
Okay, so can we adjourn until, let's say, 10:30?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Okay, very good. We'll proceed then. And we'll proceed next with agenda item number 9, which is 572 Hearthstone Road. And Ms. Nichols, when you're ready, you can proceed.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, come on over, sir. Pardon me, Mr. Chair, we will need to swear in Mr. Malasiak, please.
Oh, that's true. Absolutely. Sorry about that. Yes, please.
Thank you. Mr. Malasiak, would you please state your full name?
Edward Frank Malashik.
Malasiak, pardon me.
It's okay.
Do you affirm that the evidence you are about to give at this hearing is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I will, yes.
Thank you. You may be seated.
Check rolled.
Hey, Ms. Nichols, I was premature originally, but now we are ready for you to proceed when you're ready.
Okay, thank you. So the subject property is 572 Hearthstone Road. Roll number is 010034605000. This property is in Robland Park. It is a 1-story, single family built in 1961, no effective year built. Living area is 1,852 square feet. This property has a full basement, which is finished, 1 full bathroom, 1 half bathroom, 1 shower, air conditioning, a fireplace, and a single attached garage. The lot size in this area, the lot size for this property is 20,250 square feet, and there is a light traffic land influence on this property as well. The 2025 assessed value is currently $348,000. So most of the comparables that I brought today are in the same neighborhood as the subject property. Comparable number 1 is 90 Vanscoy Road. It is also a 1-story built in 1956, has a small effective age, bringing it up to 1965, which would indicate, small number of renovations done in the home. This home is larger than the subject property, 2,215 square feet, but it does have a slab foundation, which would be an inferior foundation type, as it, of course, there is no basement to finish. There's no possibility of finished basement for this property. Has one full bathroom, 2 half bathrooms, and a shower, no air conditioning, and a multiple attached garage. The lot size of this property is 21,956 square feet. And comparable number 1 sold in June of 2021 with a time adjusted sale price of $490,100. Comparable number 2 is 652 Hearthstone Road. So it's on the same street as subject property. Again, a 1-story built in 1958, an effective year built of 1978, which does indicate some level of renovation. Total square footage, 2,116 square feet. So it is larger than the subject property. Again, that slab foundation, of course, no finished basement, 1 full bathroom, 1 half bathroom, 1 shower, air conditioning, a multiple attached garage, lot size of 19,291 square feet. So slightly smaller than the subject property. And comparable number 2 does also have the light traffic influence as well as a bus route influence.
Could I just interject for a moment here?
No, you'll be able to ask questions after, sir.
I just want to say that I don't disagree with any of this.
Fine, but
Appeal
that's fine.
is completely different.
Oh, that's fine, but we'll allow the evidence to be given and you can ask questions after. Okay, that's the protocol we follow. Please proceed, Ms. Nichols.
Thank you. So comparable number 2 sold in October 2022 for a time adjusted sale price of $502,400. Comparable number 3 is 773 Pepperloaf Crescent, also in the same neighborhood, 1-story, built in 1970, no effective year built on this property. Total living area of 1,620 square feet, so smaller than the subject property. This property has a full basement, which is not finished. Unlike the subject property, only 1 full bathroom in this property, has central air conditioning, a fireplace, and a multiple detached garage. The lot size for comparable number 3 is 20,608 square feet, and it sold in November 2022 for $323,300. And finally, comparable number 4 is on 720 Fairmont Road. It's in Eric Coy, which is an adjacent neighborhood. It's also a 1-story built in 1961 with an effective age of 1976, 1,755 square feet of living area. It has a full part area basement and part of it is finished. 1 full bathroom, 2 half bathrooms, 2 showers, air conditioning, and a multiple detached garage. Lot size for comparable number 4 is 21,803 square feet. And this property sold in August of 2022 for a time adjusted sale price of $417,800. Considering the range in sale prices here, from a low of $323,300 up to $502,400, I do think that the subject at $348,000 is already at the low end of the range. And I do believe that that is a fair value for the property. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, Mr. Applicant, you can now ask any questions you have.
I just want to make a statement that I was trying to rush this along because we didn't need all that information about these
well,
properties
sir,
that
we
were
require
similar.
the purposes of determining whether your assessment is reasonable. And so we needed the information. Maybe you didn't, but the panel did. So, but go ahead. You're asking questions
I was
now.
just going to say that I have no complaints about any of that part because I'm not putting my complaint on that. It's the value of the homes that you're assessing are on average values. My home is not average. It's
Okay,
crumbling.
excuse me, sir. Do you have any questions to ask right now? We'll allow you to give your evidence in a few minutes, but right now you're asking questions. If you have any.
Apparently not.
Okay, no questions. Okay, that's fine. Ms. Anderson, do you have any questions?
I have no questions, thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Danjal, do you have any questions?
No, I don't. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, and I don't have any questions either. So now you can provide your evidence, Mr. Applicant.
My evidence is in the letter or the email that I sent in describing the condition of the home, which is not average. Back in 2005, you sent out a home inspector, Bob Livingston, and he revised the assessment at that time to 107,800. And that appears on the 2006 assessment. It's just basically the house is crumbling and it's not average. Nobody is going to pay the average price for it when they see it. And I don't know what else I can say. You've had an assessor out there years ago, and I guess the only way you're going to be satisfied is if you send one out again.
Yeah, and that's your evidence? It's just basically your email that you've indicated.
Well, that's it. I don't know how I can prove it unless you send somebody out to look at it.
Well, you could have provided an engineer's report. You could have provided contractors' estimates of what it would cost to rectify. You could have indicated the value of the property if there's no house on it. I mean, there's a lot of things you could have done. All we have is what you've given
What
us.
I did do.
Yeah. Okay. So, any questions, Ms. Anderson? I'm sorry. Is there any questions, Ms. Nichols?
Thank you. Not any questions, no. But I could respond just to the when you mentioned that somebody had been out to look at your home to take into account some of the issues there. I just wanted to respond and just let you know that the value of your home is
Ms.
already.
Nichols, ask the question and you can ask it now. If you would want to just later on sum up, you can do it then. But right now you're asking questions.
Sure. Yeah, no questions. Just wanted to respond to that.
Well, you'll get an opportunity to respond, but right now is time to ask questions. If you want to phrase it as a question, absolutely go ahead at that point, but it has to be a question.
Yeah,
Right.
no, that's okay. I'll wait.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Anderson, any questions?
My only question is in regards to whether you have had any contractors come and provide estimates as to the costs of doing remediation work to your property.
I have not because I could not afford it. And I know that up front. When you see the basement floor heaving and the walls are moving around and the cracks up on top and the walls and the ceiling, and nobody's going to pay that price, and I can't afford to have it fixed. I'm sure at this point it would be bordering on $100,000 worth of repairs, and I can't afford it. So what's the point in getting a value on it?
And thank you for that. Have you had independent appraisal done of the value of your home?
Could you repeat that, please?
Have you had an independent appraisal of the value of your home, or had a realtor look at your home in regards to what it may sell for on the market?
No. There's just no way that nobody's going to buy it, period. As I mentioned in my email to you fellows, that the property directly behind me, which is the same size, and at one point was valued at the same value, when they sold that property, they could just barely sell it for the price of the property. The house was demolished and 2 new homes were built on that same property. So I got a pretty good idea of where I'm going with that.
Thank you. Thank you. Those are all my questions. Thank you for the information.
Okay.
Thank you. Mr. D'Angelo, do you have any questions?
At this point, I do not. Thank you very much.
Okay. So you've indicated you've lived here for 55 years, sir? Mr.
Over 55 by now, yeah.
Okay. And
I've been to this appeal board so many times I can't even remember anymore.
yeah, and you've indicated, so you should have knowledge of how we hear these matters. Then you've indicated that why have you not provided us with photographs if you see the floor is heaving? That would be easy to do, wouldn't it?
Well, you should have them on file if you're keeping files on this property.
Well, we only have the evidence that's presented, and we have to rely on the evidence that you present. So I'm asking you, so you don't have any contractors, you don't have any realtors. We really only have your word, basically, that is difficult to share. We're not sure exactly what they entail. You have to get your patching it yourself. And how long have you had these problems?
Pardon me?
How long have you been having these structural problems?
Some of them are probably showing up a bit when we bought the house, but through the years, the basement floors has been erupting and the basement walls have been moving around. There's also a fault that's running through those properties from Pepperloaf across Hearthstone and across to the other side of Hearthstone, where the property behind us at one point had to have their foundation redone. And across the street, the property in that line they took out the concrete basement and put in a wood basement.
What do you use your basement for right now?
Just for living space, storage, gym equipment.
Okay, so even with the heat and everything, your basement's still usable.
It's usable, yes, but nobody's gonna buy it.
Okay, and
Doesn't matter what price you put on it.
okay, so what do you feel your property's worth then?
I would suspect probably similar to the one behind us, which was valued the same at one point. And the value of the land.
And what is that?
Nobody's gonna want to pay for the house.
What is the value of the land?
I have no idea, but the property behind was the same size exactly. They decided to rip down the house, which was valued the same as ours, and put up 2 new homes.
Okay. Well, I've got nothing else to ask you because you're really not giving me the answers to the questions that I'm asking you.
Well, the question I'm asking you is, where do you get increasing the assessed value from 291,000 to 348,000? Did all my problems disappear? The house is now that much more valuable?
well, we don't know what you did there, and you're still living there, and obviously you've lived there for many, many years in spite of everything. And I guess you're
I'm getting
coming
pretty
out.
good at patching cracks.
Yeah. Okay. It'd be nice if you came with an appraisal or a realtor's value or the cost of rectifying everything or something to give us. But in any event,
All the costs are going on my side of the
Okay.
belt.
Yeah. Okay. I've got no further questions to ask you. I know that the assessor did want to make a statement to respond to you, and I'll let her do that now. And if you have a response, I'll let you also give your response. And then we'll have to adjourn this matter for a decision, which you'll get in due course.
Fine.
Okay. Ms. Nichols, if you did want to respond and it was not a question, so you can sum up now if you'd like.
Thank you. Yes, I was just going to respond to Mr. Malasiak. When somebody did come to your home several years ago to do an inspection regarding the condition of the home, just wanted to let you know, and I actually did try to call you earlier this week. I'm not sure if you received my message or not, but I just wanted to let you know that that is something that we are taking into account in this valuation of the property. So that is not something that that has been missed here. We are taking that into account. And I was also going to respond just to what you had said earlier, Mr. Malasic, about that you didn't feel anybody would want to purchase the property considering its condition. So I was just going to point out that comparable number 3773 Pepperloaf Crescent, which I provided on my comparable sales report, that property is, at the time of sale, was actually in very similar condition to your property. It's sold in as-is condition, photos of, large sections of ceiling cracking and cracking in tiles in the bathroom and whatnot. And that property is still sold for the time adjusted sale price was $323,300. So I think, the value is there, even considering the condition of the property. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Masiak, if you have any question, any summation I can make, you can do that now. Otherwise, we'll adjourn the hearing.
No, I've got nothing else.
Okay, well, thank you very much for your attendance and for the evidence you gave us. And you'll hear from us shortly.
Okay, dokie, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we have some non-attendances. We can go
Ladies.
back.
Thank you very much, Mr. Vlasic.
Thank you. So we're ready to again to go back to agenda item number 2, 75 Waterstone Drive. And Ms. Nichols, when you're ready, you can proceed.
Okay, thank you. So 75 Waterstone Drive, roll number is 030929764555. This property is in South Point. The 2-story, built in 2016, living area 2,346 square feet, full basement, which is not finished, 2 full bathrooms, 1 half bathroom, 1 shower, air conditioning, and a multiple attached garage. Lot area of 7,083 square feet, and the current 2025 assessment value is $632,000. The comparable properties that I've brought today are all in South Point, same as the subject. They're all 2-story properties, year built ranging from 2012 up to 2017, so pretty similar to the subject. Living areas ranging from 2,321 square feet up to 2,374 square feet. So very similar to the subject property, all have full basements. None of those basements are finished. All have similar in terms of number of bathrooms, all have air conditioning, all have multiple attached garages. Lot sizes range from slightly smaller to slightly larger than the subject property. And only one property has some land influences where the subject property has none. But overall, these comparables are very, very comparable to the subject property. And the time adjusted sale prices of the comparable properties range from $631,900 up to $674,700. And so the subject property at 2025 assessed value of $632,000 is already at the low end of this range and definitely well supported by these comparables. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Dansh, any questions?
No, I don't. Thank you very much.
Ms. Anderson, have you got any questions?
No, I have no questions. Thank you.
Okay, so my only question is if you had any communication at all with the applicant? Ms.
I
Nichols?
have, yes, I spoke to him on the phone. I can check the date. Spoke with him on the phone on July the 24th.
Okay. And did you expect an appearance at that point?
I did. I'm not sure if he'd had a chance to review my evidence at that point, but he just said he felt the value was better supported with sales after the reference date than before. And it sounded like he was still planning to come. I explained how to find evidence and what to bring in terms of comparable sales, and that was it.
Okay, and he hasn't attended nor submitted evidence. So thank you very much. And so we'll determine this one. And the next item that hasn't been an appearance on would be, you can help me with this one.
Number,
204 Creek.
item 5.
Item 5, okay, that would be 204 Creekside
Okay.
Road. Okay.
So the roll number is 030929833880. Address is 204 Creekside Road. This property is in Bridgewater Lakes. It is a 2-story built in 2019, living area of 2,171 square feet, full basement, which is not finished, 1 full bathroom, 2 half bathrooms, 1 shower, air conditioning, and an attached multiple car garage. The lot size of the subject property is 5,433 square feet, and it does have a walkway land influence. The current 2025 assessed value of the property is $635,000. The comparables that I have brought today are actually all on Creekside Road, so definitely all within the subject neighborhood. All are two-story properties, all built between 2018 and 2021, so very close to the subject property. Living areas ranging from 2,022 square feet up to 2,212 square feet. So all very similar to the subject property. All the comparables have full basements, which are not finished. Very similar in terms of bathrooms. All have air conditioning except for comparable number 4, which does not have air conditioning. And all the comparables have multiple attached garages, same as the subject property. The lot sizes of all of the comparables are very similar to the subject property, and they all have the same walkway land influence. Comparable number 3 has the additional influence of the hydro transformer box. The time adjusted sale prices of the comparables range from $630,300 up to $684,100. So the subject property with an assessed value of $635,000 is definitely well supported by the comparables that I was able to find. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Anderson, any questions?
Just similar to the last property where the chair asked, have you had any communication with the owner at all?
I left a message for the owner on July the 15th, but never did hear back. So I never actually spoke with the owner.
Okay, and my other question just is in regards to the bathrooms, just so that I understand this correctly, the properties are all comparable with full bathrooms, except the subject property only has 1 full bath, is that correct?
Yeah.
And then 2 half baths and a shower. So the shower is in the full bath? Like, is that what that means?
No, the shower could be in the half bath, in one of those half bathrooms.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I can just take a quick look and see if that's written down anywhere. No, I don't see any notes regarding exactly where that bathroom is located. Let me just check here. Yeah, sorry, I'm not seeing anything that's indicating where that shower is located.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Those are all my questions.
Thank you. Mr. Dancho, do you have any questions?
Yeah, just going back to the full bath and half baths, I noticed that all the comparison has 2 baths except for this one. Can you just clarify when you say half baths, what are we referring to?
Yeah, so a full bathroom has a has a toilet, a sink, and a bathtub or a bathtub shower combo. So that's a full bathroom. A half bathroom would have just a sink and a toilet, but sometimes there might also be a shower stall in that half bathroom, and that would be indicated separately.
So would that not be considered as full bath once you got the shower in there?
No, we would still call that a half bathroom. So it would just appear as a half bathroom, and then the shower would show separately. Yeah, we don't consider that a full bathroom.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
That's all the questions I had. Thanks.
Okay, and I don't have any questions on this one. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Okay, and do we have any other items? I know that there are others on the agenda, but I'm not sure if we're supposed to hear those or not.
Nobody showed up for 295 Creekside Road as well.
Okay, that's not item number 6, so we can proceed with that then.
Okay.
Ms. Nichols, when you're ready.
So the roll number is 030929835515. Address is 295 Creekside Road. This property is a 2-story built in 2019. Living area is 2,625 square feet. Has a full basement, which is finished, 2 full bathrooms, 2 half bathrooms, and 3 showers. Has air conditioning and a multiple attached garage. The assessed lot size for the subject property is 6,138 square feet, and it does have a park land influence. The 2025 assessed value is currently $845,000. So the comparables that I found today are mostly in Bridgewater Lakes. Comparable number 4 is in Bridgewater Trails, which is an adjacent neighborhood. I was only able to find one comparable that had the park influence. So I was looking for other comparables that had, you know, maybe something kind of similar. So I went with some walkway influences, which is how I ended up with that last comparable that's in an adjacent neighborhood. All the comparables are 2-story properties built between 2015 and 2022. Living areas ranging from 2,476 square feet, which is slightly smaller than the subject, up to 2,667 square feet, which is very close, but slightly larger than the subject. Only one of the comparables has a finished basement, like the subject does. So that's comparable number 2, has a finished basement. All fairly similar in terms of bathrooms, although only comparable number 2 has 4 bathrooms. The other 3 comparables only have 3. All have air conditioning, all have multiple attached garages. All of the comparable properties actually have slightly smaller lots than the subject does. And like I mentioned, they have walkway, most of the comparables have walkway influence, a couple have hydro transformer box, and comparable number 2 has the park influence, which is similar to the subject property. So you'll see from the time adjusted sale prices that the comparable sale prices range from $793,500 up to $898,600. The subject property is sitting right now at $845,000, and I do feel that that value is well supported, especially considering that the comparables, except for number 2, does not have the park influence, which would of course add value to the property, and that the subject property is also larger than comparables 1, 2, and 3. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Dancho, any questions?
No, I don't. Thank you very much.
Ms. Anderson, any questions?
I have no questions. Thank you.
Okay, and I guess the question that I had the first time then, which hasn't been asked, have you had any contact with the applicant, Ms. Nichols?
Again, I left a message for the applicant on July the 24th, but I did not hear back, so I have not actually spoken with them. Okay,
thank you very much. And are there any other items that we have that there hasn't been an attendance on? I know we have 290, or I'm sorry, 5. Oh, yeah. Okay, I think that completes everything then, doesn't it?
It does.
So as all items on the agenda have now been dealt with, then we'll adjourn this meeting. And thank you, Ms. Nichols, for your attendance and all the information you provided.
Okay, thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Okay, I'm ready to proceed with our decisions right now, if everybody else is.
Mr. Chair, Nicole